So, you want to sound sexy? Don't worry, you don't have to explain anything. I get it. I'm Emily, a voiceover artist and coach with 12 years of experience voicing everything from commercials to video game characters and everything in between. There's a link in the description if you want to learn a little bit more about me. So I'm often selected for voice acting because of my attractive sounding voice, but I can also perform a more seductive or sexy sound using various techniques. Whilst I've had years to hone my craft, I believe that anyone can attain a more sexy voice with some practice. So let's take a look at the science behind sounding sexy and what you can do to make your voice sound irresistible. Before we start crafting your ultimate sexy voice, what does sexy actually sound like? From the coarse, gravelly voice of Henry Cavill as the famed Witcher, Geralt of Rivia.
Beneath his coat, he wore a worn leather jerkin laced up at the neck and shoulders. As he took off his coat, those around him noticed that he carried a sword.
To the sultry mystique of Jessica Rabbit.
Now if you had prepared 20 years ago.
There are some vocal traits that make spines shiver. But why? Scientific research holds the answer. In one study, low vocal registers, 96 Hz for male and 280 Hz for female, were observed as being more desirable. This means that in general, both men and women with deeper voices in the lower register for their gender average are considered sexier sounding. Women have a naturally higher pitch than men, but 280 Hz is still pretty low for female voices in general. I love this iconic example of a sexy female voiceover in this Marks & Spencer's ad.
This is not just a pudding. This is a melt-in-the-middle Belgian chocolate pudding served with extra thick Channel Island cream. This is not just food. This is M&S food.
You. The voiceover speaks with a subdued, sensual tone, conveying their product is the most desirable. It feels exclusive, like you're the only person getting the best quality. It drips with luxury. When compared to the standard supermarket advertisement, it's a significant shift in vocal register.
There are cleaning stations in every store. Please shop alone, wear a mask, and keep your distance.
So the secret to sounding sexy is a deeper voice. But just before we get into it, if you're enjoying this content, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. It's a big help. And if you're an actor or performer, you should check out voicereels.com. From the same engineering team behind Voquent, they produce high-quality reels to get you cast in professional voiceover projects. And I know that firsthand because I have a reel with VoiceReels, and they are amazing. The man slowly walks towards the room where the ominous noise is coming from. A small figure is walking alone along a vast stretch of white. Nikki walks quickly through the crowded street, throwing nervous glances behind her. The dog walks into a house, then lays in the owner's lap. They'll guide you every step of the way, so definitely recommending book a free consultation to get started. Links in the description. Okay, let's talk about depth. Controlling the depth of your voice is important to performing enticing and seductive vocal tones. If your voice, like mine, is naturally a little bit on the higher end of the register, and you want to achieve that lovely lower pitched kind of Marks & Spencer's sound, here are some exercises you can try at home. First, plenty of yawning. That will help relax the larynx and the throat muscles, as well as low note humming to help access and expand your lower registers. So I'm going to go through this with you. So we're going to start with a yawn, and you really do actually want to try and yawn if you can. So big, nice yawn. And that really helps to relax the throat, which is what you want for a lower sound. and the low note humming. You don't have to choose just one note. You can choose a couple, or if you have a song that you really like that isn't going to be too complicated, you can use that as your low note humming. And we're looking for something that is naturally low for you, but not too low. So for example, and then move your voice around a little bit. Or choose your song, as I say. Something nice and simple, something nice and gentle. Breath work is also very important. Known as diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing, it allows you to access air from lower down in your lungs, granting the ability to hold a lower pitch for longer. Try this. Inhale for 4 seconds through your nose. Then exhale for 8 through your mouth. Continue repeating this exercise while expanding the length of the exhale to 10 or 12 or 14 if you want to, and so on. The more you practice this, the longer you will be able to hold this sound. But should you want to go the other way, should you want to decrease your vocal depth and hit the higher, more feminine pitch, then you can essentially do the opposite. Try to slightly tighten the throat, and I really, really do mean very slightly. We don't want you hurting yourself in any way at all. And bring the voice from the bottom of the lungs all the way to the top of your throat, known as your head voice. However, having a seductive voice is about more than just depth. When you're trying to sound sexy, it is important to exert a certain level of pitch control while introducing vocal variety in other ways. Varying wildly in pitch from low to high can make you sound really skittish or anxious or lacking in confidence. And I'm going to give you an example of this. And I'm going to use that famous M&S line. This is not just food. This is M&S food. So first we're going to go wildly varying in pitch. So, this is not just food. This is M&S food. Sounds absolutely awful, doesn't it? Not even remotely sexy. To sound confident and in control, the idea is to actually restrict your pitch a little bit, but so that it's still balanced, because what can happen if you go too restricted is you end up monotone. Something like this. This is not just food. This is M&S food. That sounds just as unattractive, doesn't it? And I like to refer to those as flatlining when you're going nowhere, and roller coastering when you're wildly varying your pitch. The idea is to try and get something that's a little bit more balanced. This is not just food. This is M&S food. Implementing moments of emphasis during the sentence can keep the listener engaged, but in a calm and cool way. Finally, for the same reason, make sure that your inflection at the end of a sentence is always going down. A rising inflection at the end of a sentence is actually associated with asking a question. And so when your pitch gets higher, it communicates that you're hesitant or you're unsure. So I'm going to give that a go again with our M&S line. This is not just food. This is M&S food. It more than sounds lacking in confidence and questioning, it actually sounds a little bit sarcastic. And I don't think that's what M&S wanted to go for. Not sexy. The downward inflection at the end of a sentence communicates awareness, intelligence, and, most importantly, the sexiest trait of all, confidence. Now that we've mastered the pitch and intent of the vocal performance, we now need to add texture. And it's all about breathiness and vocal fry. When looking at highly textured, sexy male voices, one of the most common characteristics we hear is that of a gravelly nature.
It was a normal night. No customers and my cleaning was almost finished. I had just got done eating and decided to go out for a smoke when I hear someone walking towards the store in the distance.
This gravelly, near creaky tone is achieved with vocal fry. Vocal fry is caused by a slight tightening of the glottis. You'll hear me say slight because I'm really not a fan of tightening your throat in any way, but to create this vocal fry sound, there is a very, very slight tightening of the glottis to create a small opening in which words will simply bubble through. Vocal fry is actually the most relaxed state of the voice, and many people don't realize that because it has got that textured edge to it. But it's a state of relaxation in the throat. This has been popularized by famous celebrities such as Britney Spears, Paris Hilton, and the Kardashians.
I just take my dog for a walk, or I'll go shopping, or I'll do just like normal stuff.
This is my real voice. That was just a character I was playing.
It's really crazy to look back and just to think 20 seasons. That's a long time.
However, studies tell us that a breathier texture is more desirable for creating a sexy feminine voice that's radiating seduction. This breathy style demonstrates self-assuredness, confidence, and youthfulness, all very alluring properties. Whereas in a male voice, vocal fry is more closely associated with sounding sexy, helping attain a mysterious and masculine gravelly sound. Here's an example to compare a sentence with, and we're going to do it with and without texture. The way the light hits you is captivating. So this is without texture. The way the light hits you is captivating. So you can hear it's smooth, there isn't much vocal fry going on, but I'm going to now add with that texture, with that vocal fry. The way the light hits you is captivating. There's one last thing that influences how sexy you sound. Controlling your tempo or speech rate is critical to sounding sexier. Just as pitch affects the perception of attractiveness versus seductiveness, we can see a similar division with pace. Those with a loud volume and fast pace of speech have been found to have a higher success in finding partners, and therefore a more attractive voice. This could be for numerous reasons, but it is likely due to the social connotations. Perhaps people speaking with a faster tempo are perceived as more personable, confident, and socially adept. However, slow pacing is imperative to a seductive performance. Slower pacing adds suspense to the voice, drawing the listener in so that they're hanging on every word. Speaking too fast will appear over-enthusiastic and friendly. So, when trying to sound seductive, don't be afraid of a little silence to let your words breathe and build tension. Et voilà! The steps to creating a sexier voice. Add depth with a lower pitch, texture with vocal fry or breathiness, and speak with a moderate, balanced pace. That's the science. But ultimately, a sexy voice is in the ear of the beholder. The perception of sexiness is individual. And the science, it is lacking in some areas, such as exploring how sexual orientation or gender identity affects the perception of vocal sexiness. What we do know is that a sexy voice can be created based on the general consensus by developing individual aspects of the voice like your pitch, your texture, and your pace. This has been Emily Jardine for Voquent. Bye!